Good evening, all.
Good evening, sir.
So we'll wait for 3 more minutes and we'll start. Like only 7 members are there, right? Yeah. Okay. We'll start with today's session. Before that, from this today's class, who were absent in last class? Can you raise your hands?
Sir, can you repeat?
Who were absent in previous class? There are 5 hands raised. So have you gone through previous class videos out of 5? Ranava, Kruti, Vaiga, Jeswin, and Kundan. Yeah, one more. Okay. Is it fine if I pick any one of you? If you have gone through the previous
Sir,
class
like
videos.
which videos, like class recorded videos or that YouTube videos?
The class recorded videos.
Sir, no.
Okay, so we have to go through those videos, right? If you're absent for your previous classes. Like it's the continuation of the previous class. Okay. Okay. From the previous class who were present, like others are present, right? Anyone who feels that you can do functions properly? like kind of confident in doing functions if I give a small question? You can raise your hands. Okay, Gautam. What about others? Share my screen. Maria, can you share your screen? Like I'll just give the question.
Yes, sir. Just a second.
Yeah, sure. Open Visual Studio Code.
Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible. So what I want to do is like I need you to create a function which will just calculate the area of a triangle.
Okay, sir.
So you know the area of a triangle, right? What's the formula?
So half base height into height.
Okay, fine. So can you start coding? Yeah. So before you start a function, right? What's the main thing you need to write?
So defining the function.
Okay. After that,
So the arguments, or like, should I take the input before that?
yeah, you need to pass the
Okay.
two parameter because okay because there are two things you need to pass, right, for the formula. Those are called as parameters.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So is this okay? Should I try running it?
You're calling the function. Are you passing anything into that function area? You need to send something, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you can use print statement inside that function itself.
Is this okay?
Yeah. Your screen sharing has been stopped.
Yeah, sorry, sir. Just share again.
Yeah. Okay. Maria, can you explain like what you did for like who were absent in previous class?
Yes, sir. First,
Okay.
I took two values of base and height as input, and then we define a function, and then we pass two variables, base and height, as the parameters. Like these are the variables which are to be used inside the function. And then inside the function, we define another variable, area of triangle, which equals half base times height, and then return that value. Like then after executing the function, this value will be considered as the value of the function, and then we are printing it. And again, while printing, we are passing the value of base and height as the parameters to be executed.
Well done, Maria. It's very well done.
Thanks.
You can stop sharing the screen. I'll start. Okay. So we have seen what is function, right? So I'll like just explain it once again. So these function are like reusable blocks. So this will kind of help you to structure and organize your codes in a proper way. So if you want to use like some function to call it like anywhere in the code anytime, like you can use kind of create a function and you can use it anywhere. So what function consists of are like parameters and return values. So first you will define a function with parameters. So whatever input value you need to give into a function, you give it as an input as a parameters, and whatever output you want to take, you'll tell in the return values like that output has to come out of the function. So she has created function of triangles, right? So in order to like you need to define the function name and the parameters, two parameters for your function, what has to happen inside the function. So two input parameters. Then area will try to calculate. So this is length into width. This is for rectangle, but she did it for triangle with multiplying with zero point 0.5. So after that, she returned the area instead of using global like kind of global variable. Show predefined global variable. She just add the user input for getting the length and width. Uh, okay. Any doubts on this? Like this was the basic introduction what we did last class. Okay. I'll continue. Inside the function, there are like kind of want to define some of the variables, right? Uh, so there are two, like before starting that one, there are two types of variables, like local variable and global variable. So globally, like you define this outside like any function, and you can access it from anywhere in the code. So local functions are like local variables. If you use, you have to use within the function itself. So if you try to call it outside the function, you won't get those values. So I'll show the example. I'll start my Visual Studio Code. So I've created simple file. Just a minute. It's asking me to install some Python extension. Yeah, my screen is visible, right? Okay, so as I mentioned, like there are two types of variables, global and local. So first I'll try to show you like what's global variable is. So I define a variable, so called it as global variable. So what I'll do is like for this kind of variable, I'll try to kind of call it inside a function. I'll call this function as defined call. So make it as a value. So I'll print its value. I'm not returning anything. So if I call call this function. So what will happen now? Anyone? I'm audible, right? So anyone can tell me like what will happen now?
The answer will be 30.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. So what I did is like I defined a global variable 30. So just this value I need to send the parameter value. So whatever the variable value was there, I just passed through this value and printed that one. So this way, like what you do is like this is a global declaration of variables. What we need to do is like I'll just mention this local variable also inside the function. So this one local variable is equals to 50. So what I'll do is like I'll print this local variable. So what will happen now?
And 50.
Okay, 30 and 50 will come, right? So this is the local, this is inside the function. So what if I call out of this function? So you'll get an error, right?
Yeah, since it's local variable.
Yeah, it's local variable only. Like what difference is that in this local variable, you can access inside the function itself. And if you call it outside the functions, you won't be able to like kind of access those. So that is the key difference between global variable and local variable. Everyone understood, right?
Sir.
Okay. So there is one more concept called as shadowing. the shadowing, what concept is that when you define something x in your global variable, right? So you can define the same variable inside a function as a local variable, and you can give different values. So what it does is that inside the function, it will call the local variable. Outside, like kind of the function, it will automatically call it as global variable. I'll show that example. You'll be able to understand that. So this global variable like made it as 30, right? So I'll just call it again once again in inside the function itself. So this is called as shadowing. I can call the same global variable, but as a local variable inside the function. It's global
Sir, can you
variable.
once again explain?
Okay. So what I did is like this is the global variable, right? I defined it as global variable. So you can access it anywhere. Sometimes you won't get the names or something like that. Like kind of you won't be able to get the idea at that particular moment of time. So what you'll do is like you'll just simply define the same name inside the function. So same as global variable. For example, I'm just telling. So that you'll mention it as value as 50. So this is called as shadowing. What you do is like inside the function also you'll call the variable with the same name, and global variable also like kind of the same name. So this is called as shadowing. So what will happen now if I try to kind of what do you call print this one?
He will give like
50.
Okay. So 30 and 50. But it should be 30 and 30, right? Because I've defined it as global variable 30. So if I call try to print that one, it has to be 30 only, right? If I print it like outside over here, so what will be the value now? So everywhere, like I'm just calling the same name, right? Same variable. So why is that value is different? Just a simple question, like what you understood, I just want to know.
You use shadowing.
Okay, so this concept is called as shadowing, right? So you have already defined one variable, 30, but inside the function, you're calling the same variable with some other values. So inside the function, like if you call that one, that would be the local variable. So this is the local variable as of now. If I try to print, it will print the value of 50. But if I try to call it outside the function, whatever you defined it as global variable, right? So that would be like called. So this concept is called as shadowing. Any doubts on this one, or are you just getting confused? So you can reuse the variables multiple times, but there is a difference between kind of how you use, like whether it is as a global variable or local variable. So any doubts?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So if I declare a global variable outside a function
Hmm.
and I modify its value inside a function
Okay.
without using the global keyword,
Uh, can you repeat that last part without using?
The using it as a global keyword.
Okay, so you don't want this global keyboard, right? So I'll make it as a variable. So here also I need to make it as a variable. You're mentioning this one only, right?
Um, okay. I think I'll reframe my question.
Okay.
So is it, I mean, can I modify its value without, I mean, can I modify its value inside a function?
Yeah, you can modify. This is what is happening, right? So variable you're making it as 50, right? Variable was 30 before. So I'll pass this variable like kind of as a value. 30 was passed inside. But inside this function, this is local. Got the difference? Like kind of, did this answer?
Yeah. So is there no way you can exclude shadowing in this?
Uh, the main point of shadowing is that it's just telling that you can use the same variable inside and outside also. But I'm just showing the difference what will happen like outside and inside the function.
Okay. Understood, sir.
Okay, so you can use anything like kind of if you want to use variables, that depends. But sometimes you'll use the same name, right? And you'll like kind of if your function is like 1,000 lines long, so you don't get the idea of like kind of what to use, what to use. Sometimes you'll use the same variable. So for that reason, like the shadowing like uh, concept I mentioned.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So in last class, we went through arcs and quarks, right? So can anyone tell me like what's the concept of arcs and quarks?
The quacks is about it's a keyword argument and
Okay.
is about an argument which is going to be handled by the parameters.
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't understand.
Sir, args means it is keyword argument and args means argument.
Okay. So you should have learned the concept of like kind of list and those kind of things, right? Uh,
Yes.
in arguments, like what you do is like without keyword, like you'll try to send the values. In quarks, you'll send a keyword along with the value.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is the main difference. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go with error handling inside a function. If you had seen this one, right? My previous case. It was right. Yeah. So name error, like kind of whatever error you're getting, global variable is not defined, right? So like what we can do is like we can have error handling inside the function itself. So if you're not able to find this global variable or whatever the value is not coming inside the function, right? So you can exceptionally handle those errors. Like you can uh, like kind of predict what will happen if I don't get this value or something like that. And you can mention those errors. I'll show you that example. Is it raining over there?
No, sir, cloudy.
Okay, fine. It's heavily raining
In
from
my
afternoon.
Here in Mysore it is raining.
Okay. So what I'll teach you is that sample code. Okay. So I'll comment this one. So what we do is like we try to get some words inside a array or something like that. So if we can't find those, like how to handle those error, I'll just try. So can anyone tell me like what string is? Anyone? It's a data type, like what string is, what did you understand from it?
The strings are written inside the quotes.
Okay. So you know how those strings are written inside the quotes, like how it will take the data?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me like how it's done?
So first we have to write a variable, then we should write a character inside the quotes.
Okay. It's just this way, right? Is equals to. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you write it this way inside a string, what happens is that each will take an index. So it's H E. So this will have an index, like kind of index numbers, like whenever you take a string. So it's one word after the other. If there is a space, so what happens is that it will give a space and like kind of this is how this string is inside a code. Okay, so we'll try to kind of find the index for this string. That is what I'm trying to do in this function. If it exists, that string. So if you see over here, for hello, how many characters are there inside this string? Five characters, right?
Yes,
H E LLO. So five characters are there. So if I want to find like kind of if I give some other input for indexing like seventh or eighth, so it has to handle that error, right? So there is no 7 or 8 index. So for that, in order to like kind of handle the errors, telling to the user there is no seventh index, only like kind of fifth index is present. So we have to like write the error handling using try and accept. You know the concept of try and accept? Was it taught?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
So, like Shivani ma'am, she taught one.
Okay. Try and accept. Yes, sir. What I'll do is like first I'll try to use the. Okay. Should I give the basic of try and accept before starting, or else is it fine if I just like kind of go?
You can explain, sir, because we are new to this.
You're in level 3 only, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what try and accept does is that try what it does is that this is a block of code. Try. So whatever I write inside this block of code, it will let me to test a block of find the errors inside that one. So what except that does is that except. So try and accept. So it will this blocks, whatever is inside this except, it will let me to handle the errors. Then there is something called as else. So this block. So try, accept, else block, let you execute the code, kind of whatever the code is running in that, if there are no errors. So this try will let me to test the errors. So this will handle the errors, except if there are any exception for that error, I can write inside this one. Then else part. So if there are no kind of errors in the code, then this block will execute. Then there is finally. So this this block of code, whatever is inside this block of code, will let me to kind of whatever the result comes or not, whether there is an exception, errors or something. This will let me to run everything finally. So try, accept, and else will try to use. So I'll explain it once again. Try, this will let me to test the errors if there are anything inside the code. So accept, it will let me to handle the errors. Like if I find any error inside the try, this will handle those errors, like how to handle those errors. We have to write the code inside this. So else what it does is that if there are no errors or something like that, we'll execute the code. After that, finally, what we do is it will kind of execute everything if there is error or something like that. Inside the code also, we can write it into finally and we can push that one.
So
Yeah.
is it necessary to use finally?
Sometimes in some cases it will be kind of very exception cases are there.
Right. So you said and if you don't catch the error, then you can just write the code and else. So
Because sometimes that error is kind of minute, that's not negligible kind of thing. But you don't have to write try, except, else, everything inside for if it is long functions, that finally is there, right? Some part, some part you can execute in this way.
Yes.
So this
Okay.
block will always run, whatever the case error is there or something, this will always run.
Okay.
So what we do is this code, we need to test for errors, right? So we need to give some inputs inside this one. So the string I'll give. So I'll take it as an input. So first what user has to do is that he has to input some string, right? Okay. So what we try to do is my objective of this function is that if the given index is present in the string or not. So I'll give it as index. Index is equals to. So this index has to be int. So it's an array indexing, right? Kind of that way. So int of input. So there are two inputs from the user end. One is the string he has to enter, and he has to give some indexing of the value, index value, so that he can access that value or something like that. So what we do is this one, make it as character. So this variable will store user string index. This is an array, right? So whenever we take, we can take it as an array. user string. So I can give as index over here. And I can try to print. So correct. This one index. So what happening is that the character at index I'm taking this whatever value is there. So, character. So this is the try method. So I'll check for like kind of execute the code. So this part like kind of execute the codes for me to test the errors are there or not something. So this is it doesn't know like whether error is there or not, like those kind of things. But this is the first part of the code inside the try. I need to do some like kind of operation inside the try. Okay. So if I run this one, what will happen? So it's just giving me like kind of else, like I need to define those kind of thing, except and else. Okay. Okay. So in except like there are two types of errors I can anticipate from this one. One is that index error. So I'll get to know that if the user like kind of exceeds the values from the entire string. So what I'll do is like I'll make it as index error. So I'm defining this as index error. So this is my anticipation. So index can exceed the string value. So I'll print. So I have to mention this error as the index is out of range of string. Okay. So this was one exception. So what can happen? One more thing. What can like kind of expect some errors from the user while in the input.
Like the user enters, like the user wants to access a character which is out of the index. That's
Okay.
basically.
So when you give int, you can give it as -2 also, right? Is it possible to give -2 inside int? Just asking a question. Anyone can answer.
So can I repeat?
Okay. That index is equals to int input, right? So for that index int, whenever user is giving, can he input minus value also, like negative numbers?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So that is like one more error, right? I can anticipate from the user. So we'll do that way, like value error. So we'll write one more exception. We can have multiple exception. So I have to tell the user. So give a valid index. Okay, so these are my like kind of what will happen. What if error comes? Like how do I accept that one? Like exception case I need to make. So whenever index error is there out of range, So I'll print that what are the index value are given. It's out of range. And then value error. So if you give -2, -3, -100 or something like that. So we can't take that in consideration for array, right? For array indexing. So we anticipated 2 errors might happen from the user input. So we are given an exception, like if they give this value, like what are, like we have to print those to the user. Then we are given the exception. If there is no like kind of error or something like that, it will come under else. So print string operation, like kind of successful. So in this else case, there are no other like kind of error is happening. So I'm just printing this operation is successful. So finally, like no matter what the case, this finally will run, right? So we have to give some int. I'll make it as give it some values. So I'll make it as this function is complete. Okay. So I'll enter a string. So how many characters are there inside this as of now?
Is it 14?
Okay. So I have to give index kind of inside 14, right? So I'll give it as 8, 5 or something. Is there a should. It's not okay. So that variable like kind of it was different. Fine. So the character at index, this value is there, right? Index, why is it not taking?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, is it fine like you wrote level 3 in string?
yeah, it's fine. Like, what's the doubt? I didn't get exactly.
Yes, I was just confused. Like, even 3 will be considered as string, right?
Yeah, it will be considered a string. So this is a string, complete string. So it's not an integer as of now. It's the complete string, Python level 3. And this is integer over here. So that is why I defined right integer it has to take. It's not taking two. Okay. So what if I give 100 as of now? So we are telling the error. So index is out of range of string, right? So this is how we handle the errors. Like in exception, we anticipated 2 errors might occur from the user input. One is that he might give index value more than the given string. Other one was the value error. So I'll show that value error also. So Python, the screen is visible, right? That Python everything. So if I give -2, is it taking? Okay. So I'll give it as Q or something like that. By mistake, yes, enter index. Give a valid index. Okay. If you can see over here, if I give something other than int or something like that. So it has handled the exception of value error. So give a valid index. So if I give something else instead of int or something like that, that exception I'm printing, like for the user, like it has to go tell that this is the error and print that. So whatever the case, this finally like this function is completed. So even if error is there or something, uh, code also didn't like kind of execute as per your expectation, this finally will run and you'll get this function is complete. So any doubts on this one? How to handle your errors?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, like explained try, accept, and else now. So while coding, I was also coding the same that you wrote here. So, but
Okay.
so the try is there. Then the colon, that's okay. Then try means accept index error colon. So it's giving a red line below, and the next one accept value
Because okay,
colon.
that is because you might have written the code somewhere else or something like this way. But it has to that Python has that syntax, right? So inside the
Yes.
function, like you need to have that space. So make sure this space is there. So like properly code, like press enter. You should be able to type from like kind of over there. So make sure like it's inside the function. This space is there. Any other doubts like in the concept of this error handling?
No, sir.
What about others?
No, sir.
Sir.
Yeah, like someone was having an issue. Like, okay, so like in
Yes, sir.
Python, this. Sorry, can you repeat? Who was that?
So, me, Tanishka.
Yeah,
I
Tanishka.
sent a screenshot. It's not about error handling, but the first question which you asked. Is there any error in the code?
No, the code doesn't have errors. Okay, so okay,
So, I mean, the screenshot which I've sent.
screenshot which you have sent. Mhm. So what's the error? It's coming for you. Okay, this result is there, right? So you have given some space over here. So that shouldn't happen. So you're calling this function, right, inside a result. Outside the function, you're calling this one. Remove this space and run.
Yes, I'll try.
Okay, sure. So like the common like Python errors which you'll get is that type error, like incorrect data types is used or something like that. The value error, like right type of value which you have to give. So if you have given int or something like that, if the user gives some other data type, so that one. Index error, like what are the list you are having, if you want to access those. outside the range or something like that if you get. So like how do you handle errors in Python? So what you have to do is like you have to anticipate the possible errors which might occur. So I've written this part of code, like if you have like as I've written this, like to get the particular index of a list, right, or the string character attached string, sorry. So I'll just get to know like these errors might occur. One is that index error and value error. So I just anticipated those errors will happen and I tried to write the exception for those, how to handle those errors. So when you're writing this uh, error handling like in Python, so make sure you anticipate the possible errors that occurs in your function and then use this try and except to handle that errors. So got the point? You need to make sure like in try and except, you need to handle the errors. So you can try this example after this class and you can send the screenshot in WhatsApp group. So it's page number 9. So everyone try this example. So in last class, we didn't see this lambda function, right? So we'll see in this class. So what lambda function does is that when you define a function, you'll define like first you define the function name, diff function name, parameters. Inside the bracket, you'll like kind of any function, like any operation has to happen inside the function. So there is something called as lambda function. You can reduce that syntax, like kind of make it small function. So when if you use lambda key, you don't have to define function or something like that. I'll show you that example. So this add is there, right? So I need to add two numbers. So I'll do return. So this is your conventional way of defining a function, right? So this is your conventional way. You define a function with function name, parameter values, and what operation has to happen inside the function, and you return those like values whatever you want to do or something like that. Okay. So in lambda function, what we do is that if you see the syntax, this one multiply we are doing, right? I'll do for addition. So if I use lambda, this keyword, and I pass those key values and I do the addition, so we can kind of make it as a function itself. So this is like short function. If you don't want to like define the whole function for just small operation or something like that, you can use lambda functions. So this is my variable add 2 is equals to lam lambda function I'll call. So I'm calling a comma b, right, over here. So a comma b I'll call inside the colon, like what operation has to happen. X plus, sorry, a plus b. So I try to print this one. Add 2. So I need to pass two values, 8 comma 10. So if you see here, same thing is happening. Addition is happening inside this both the functions. But in lambda function, I've reduced this like kind of this syntax of the function. So I just had to use lambda keyword, the parameter values, what is happening like operation inside the function. So if I try to like call the function, that function will execute. Any doubts on this lambda function? Any doubts?
Sir, can you tell define lambda?
So lambda is just a keyword. Like what it does is like it will try to reduce your function like kind of syntax into smaller things. Like if you want to write it in a smaller operation or something like that. So you have to do define, you have to do the function name, the parameter, and you have to write it inside like kind of with the return statement, everything, right? So what lambda does is that it will reduce everything. So lambda I'll try to use parameter values and then what operation it has to happen. So it's a predefined function kind of. You don't have to use the proper syntax for this lambda. But if you are using very long functions, I recommend not to use this lambda because it can't handle that much. Only like one or two operation it can handle. So any doubts till now, as of now?
No, sir.
Okay. So there is one more concept of functions as argument, but it will take some time, but we are running out of time. This one, function as arguments. So before starting next class, only this last concept is remaining, function as arguments. So I'll take it in next class. So for your assignment, what you need to do is like in every every pages of your present PPT, right? I given some project ideas what you have to do. So for every page, okay, not this one shadowing us. I given the project idea, right? So you have to create that project ideas and you have to send me the outputs. Like I'll see like how much you understood this concept. So for every concept we have learned today, you have to do the assignment. Each page has the question like kind of as a project idea. So send your outputs as a screenshot. How we do it as in Google Drive. Am I clear on the assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So can you be sharing the PDF to the group?
Sir, like, can
PPT,
you
PPT
repeat
is
the
already shared.
Sir, I have okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'll share once
like
again.
assignment?
Yeah, it's there, sir. Okay.
Sir, like, can you repeat the assignment?
Your PPT, right? There are so in every page there is project idea mentioned. So in this there is questions mentioned. So what you need to do is like what you need to do is like create a function to handle a variable number of arguments, right? So I've given the question, execute that one with the output and send that screenshot in in the Google Drive folder.
Like, can you repeat once again?
Okay, so this project idea in each and every page you can see, right? Some of the pages. So this is the question. So take it as an assignment and send the output screenshot, whatever you get in your output over here, right? Take it as a
Each and
screenshot and
every
upload in Google Drive folder.
okay, like we should like try in each and every page.
Yeah, this is the concept, each and every concept for that project idea is there, right? So that is the
Okay, sir.
question for your assignment.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay, so go through this project idea. These are the questions. So execute that one and send the output.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
So before this one, you gave us another assignment, right? Like today. Can you repeat that again?
mentioning try this one, right? What was the thing? This one, yeah. This one, what was the assignment which I gave? I think I forgot what the assignment which I gave. I gave you to send in WhatsApp group, right? I told you something to execute.
So it's fine, like we'll watch the
Page number
recording.
No, wait, I'll just remember if I go through.
page number
I think so. It was related to.
the page number in that code in WhatsApp.
Yeah, okay. This one, page number 9. I told you, right? Try this custom error message and send the output. The sample code is there, right? Try this one and send the output. So this was your assignment. Today only you need to send this one in WhatsApp group. So execute this one and send the output. Page number 9, it's there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, in WhatsApp we should send the screenshot.
Yeah, screenshot of this only this one for today's this one. Page number 9, whatever you output you get of this page number 9, this sample code. Only
Okay, sir.
this one. But your assignment, other assignments are there, right? It has to be in Google Drive folder.
Okay.
So if you're not having any doubts, we can wind up this session. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
So, no doubts.
Yeah, Vishek, you had any doubts?
No, sir, I said no doubts.
Okay, fine. So we'll wind up this session. You can send the assignments. So send it. Your assignment, this one is there, right? Send it, other assignments. Okay, deadline I need to mention. Yes, first. So send it before next class. So that is on 4th, it's there. So before that you can send.
Sir, can others leave?
Yeah, if they're not having any doubts, they can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tanishka.